Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. How about them Cowboys? Advanced to 2-2 with a clutch Brett Maher field goal 38-yarder to defeat the Detroit Lions 26-24 in AT&T Stadium. I haven't, been able to rock this shirt with pride in a long time, and to break out the Prescott Elliott campaign, make Dallas great again, 2016 shirt. That's how I felt today. That's what this offense, that's what this team looked like today. Shout out A1 performance by Ezekiel Elliott. Took accountability for what he did on the field last week. Yes, we know he had the yardage in the run game, but across the board, didn't seem focused, had a lot of mistakes, and righted those wrongs in a huge way today. Probably, in my opinion, his most complete football game since he's been a member of the Dallas Cowboys. And that says a lot with all the accolades and statistics that Zeke has put up just in 2.5 years on our team. But that's how good he was today, guys. And you have to give credit to Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan. They told us this week that there would be wrinkles. I wasn't expecting the play design, the formations that they came out in today, not necessarily mixing up or adding in new plays, but just how they utilize guys. I thought they just did a way better job of being creative. If you look around the league, and it's been frustrating as a fan, you look at the Minnesota Vikings and Los Angeles Rams game from Thursday night. Those teams look like they were playing offense in 2018. You look across the league today, even the way the Titans finished up the game. That's one of the reasons why I kind of delayed making this video, because I wanted to see the end of the Tennessee-Philly game as well as the Houston-Indy game. We'll get to that in a second. But offensively, we've just been so inept. The passing game looking broken. That bleeding into our running game taking too long to get going in games. And today, they just looked better, just looked competent. They had issues with time possession. It seemed like Detroit had the ball for a long time, but we were efficient with our drives. We even left, a lot of plays on the field, for various reasons, but still just being able to move the football and look like a real offense. And I mentioned Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan and the wrinkles. They must be watching this channel, guys, because I've been saying Ezekiel Elliott, the only way to give him touches is not just giving the ball between the tackles. It's not just running inside zone out of shotgun. There's a multitude of ways that people are getting. If you look at the Christian McCaffreys and the Todd Gurleys and people across the league, even Melvin Gordon, the way that they're being deployed in their offense, we incorporated Zeke in that manner today. We won the game because of that. The fact that he lined up as a slot receiver and basically ran a wheel route on the linebacker, it's like, hey, this guy cannot run with him 30 yards down the field. And I know Jarrett Davis is a fast player, and the Lions have some guys that are some speedy linebackers, but in terms of the matchups, and we called a play to isolate a particular person, which I loved. And then the quarterback executed and threw the ball over the shoulder. It was a defined read for him, and he was able to execute the throw to Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott come up with, 88 yards receiving today. In the screen game, he was excellent. Because of all the ways he's being deployed, when we do decide to hand off the ball, run between the tackles, he's able to gash them. It just seemed like there was more space. It didn't seem like there was a million people at the line of scrimmage. We had to keep him honest. Part of that, too, is the aggressive play calling at the beginning of the game. Dak Prescott not hesitating, and taking shots down the field. I know we didn't, Michael Gallup was able to get one. Tavon Austin had his drop. Then he wisely, fakes the collarbone injury as you should do. I actually texted my friend a meme about that because, he knew he blew that money. But regardless, it's just the threat of it. And here's what we have to give Dak Prescott a lot of credit today. When you're throwing the ball accurately down the field, whether guys are coming down with the ball or not, the defense is seeing that. And guys started to back up a little bit, and there was just more space. And Dak really threw the ball effectively all day. Now, he still has some issues with his footwork in the pocket, and I do think he might have an ankle situation or something, because we're not The one thing I still haven't seen is the quarterback run game with him, and that may be because of an ankle injury or something, or just they don't want to ever be in this position where they have to put the backups in the game. Who knows? But we do need to. He's not quick like a Russell Wilson or anybody to be doing the reverse spins out of the pocket. I would like to see him more try to step up, either throw a dirt ball or eat the sack moving forward instead of running backwards a few times. But overall, with his performance, that's really nitpicking. He probably should have had over 330 yards passing today and 3 or 4 touchdowns. But overall, 250 plus in the pass game is very, very good for what we're trying to do. The offensive line, specifically in the run game, very physical performance today. I tip my hat to the line. They weren't as good in pass pro, but in terms of the run game, moving guys, getting out on the edge, even the screen pass. Joe Looney looked like Larry Allen against the Saints out there. He was moving. It looked like he ran a 4.6 to help get Zeke in the end zone. It's funny because like Joe Looney, if you remember for Halloween, he was like Fat Zeke, and it looked like 2 Zekes just running out there. So really cool just to see the diversity in our packages offensively, because that's what we've really, really honed in on as fans with this particular team. Now, all the talk about the offense, we have given high praise to our defense. They kind of let us down today. Not kind of, they did let us down today. They conceded a two score lead that we had late in the third quarter. Detroit's able to take a lead because of, I wouldn't even say a blown coverage. It's just Anthony Brown not getting enough depth and a basic cover 2 concept where, if there's nobody in front of you, you have to carry your man down the field. I mean, that's basic stuff. You see Jordan Lewis, he gets an opportunity to get on the field and gets immediately burned. I think it was his second defensive snap of the season. He misses the tackle, falls down. Number 1 rule my high school DB coach told us: don't fall down. Falls down, and Golden Tate, the cowboy killer that he is, has another career day against us. But overall, Tank Lawrence, obviously he's gonna have to get paid. He was unbelievable again today. I believe a career high 3 sacks. I was really impressed again with Leighton Vander Esch in the middle. He's becoming a very, very good open field tackler, and he's not being completely exposed at the point of attack in terms of physicality. I see him out there making plays, and he's able to kind of move around sideline to sideline. They did have some issues with some of their run fits, but most of my frustrations was really honestly also with the lack of pass rush outside of DeMarcus Lawrence. I didn't see anybody else really getting any pressure. Didn't see too much of Taco today. He had a couple nice stops in the run game. Hopefully Antoine Woods is going to be okay. Saw him get hurt with the calf injury. But, everybody else didn't see a whole lot of pressure from our front 4, which is what we're going to need. The blitz packages that we have, especially the little corner blitz stuff that Rashard likes to do, is really cool. But when you're going against guys like the better quarterbacks, you can't just come out with exotic blitzes every time. They'll carve you up. So you really want to try to get that pressure from your front 4. And right now, if Lawrence isn't getting home, then no one is. Randy Gregory got to step up. Others, I do like what I'm seeing from Dorrance Armstrong in the limited snaps that he's playing, where he's spelling DeMarcus Lawrence. So maybe he can try to help out on that right side. I don't know. Should be getting David Irving back now, so maybe that'll help as well. But overall, defensively, there's individual players that I'm liking. Byron Jones right now is grading out as the best corner because he doesn't see the football. People are avoiding him like the plague. Awuzie, to me, was fine technique-wise. And if I'm a coach over there, if I'm Rashard and some of the secondary guys, just say, hey, man, keep your confidence. Your technique is fine. Just try to rip through the football a little bit more. But those Lions wide receivers are no joke. They catch everything. And they were contested. Some of them were back shoulder. Some of them, like even the Golden Tate catch where he kind of used the ground, but I don't know what that rule is anymore. But all those plays, Awuzie is in great position, playing with great leverage and technique. The only play where I really thought we just flat out got beat, or actually the two plays, again, the Anthony Brown play and the Jordan Lewis play. So we'll see. Jeff Heath, we'll have to see what the prognosis is with him. But the safety situation is starting to get a little iffy because Xavier Woods kind of struggled today. Kayvon Frazier, even on that last touchdown, still his ankle was flat. So even if Anthony Brown carries, he still shouldn't have been a touchdown. Kayvon Frazier came across way too flat, didn't come out with a proper angle. That's multiple times where we've seen him make that mistake. Obviously the Deshaun Lee injury. So defensively, it's a mixed bag. I do think they should be okay against Houston next week. I wasn't particularly impressed with what I saw down the end of the Houston's more, they're very poorly coached, and it's one of those things where Deshaun Watson, basically has to do it on his own, hold the ball, and try to wait for somebody to get open. Now their wide receiving core, because Kiki Kuti played today, so with him, Will Fuller, and Hopkins, they're a very potent wide receiver core like we just faced with the Lions. So we have to get some things shored up next week. But overall, what else do we want to touch on here? Jeff Swain, good job today at tight end. We've complained about, tight ends not being involved and whatnot, but really it's the second week in a row where he's been very good in the passing game. I would still like to see him move a little bit more when he's covered on those stick routes, just kind of move. The one person who does a really good job of that in our offense is Cole Beasley, and I have to give him credit. He was very timely in his route running, and I know even his ankle was bothering him, and you could tell. But he's such a brilliant route runner, and he's so aware of when the play is extended, working back to the football. That's something I'd like to see more in the wide receiver room. And they obviously came out this week, Cole Beasley, defending the wide receivers and whatnot, and they did not make him look good at the beginning of the game. It was a lot of drops, a lot of mistakes. But through the end of the game, even Allen Hurns using his body on key slants, 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 9s, just getting what they can. And if they're able, I said this before the season started, with the way, if our running game can get to the level, and now that Zeke's looking really good and his conditioning is there and he's able to make guys miss, if our running game is able to be dominant, right now we have pretty much the best run game in the league, I would say. I just need guys that can beat man coverage in the pass game. And if we have, serviceable pass blocking, then Dak can be the bus driver. He can be the main, the game manager that we need for us to move forward. Right now we're 2-2. The Eagles just lost. Thank you, Tennessee Titans. They're 2-2. The Giants are playing right now. Obviously, we've already beaten them. And the Redskins had a bye week this week. So we're right there with everybody within our division. Now, it's going to take with these NFC East teams, and I told y'all last week, it's not a great division. We're going to need, whoever's going to come out of this is going to need to win the division to get into the playoffs. I don't think we'll carry two teams into the NFC playoffs. But right now, we just have to stay focused on keeping pace, and they're doing that. Now, the other thing I notice is I think we might be a little Jekyll Hyde with this football team in terms of home and away. Today, in the Giants game, they just seem to have a little bit more juice. Everybody just seems to be a little bit more comfortable. And then these away games, we get, these first two, Carolina and Seattle, we've just been so flustered and things just being really, really out of sorts. Dallas traditionally has been a very good road team because we always travel well. We're America's team. We got to get back to at least playing 500 football on the road because it looks like we're going to be a pretty good team at home. Now, one could say we've played two mediocre football teams at home. That may be valid as well, with it being the Giants in Detroit. But, it's just something to keep your eye on in terms of how we play on the road and how we play away. But Ezekiel Elliott, thank you for your effort. Thank you for being the bell cow. And thank you to the coaching staff for getting the touches and being so creative in your use of him. And then Dak Prescott being able to supplement and play off of that. This should be an Ezekiel Elliott physical run downhill led football team with some creative stuff on the back end, more collegiate concepts, spread concepts to help play to your quarterback's strengths. Not coming out and making this the Dak Prescott show supplemented by Ezekiel Elliott, if that makes sense. So as long as that's the mentality and that's how they're going to do their install each week and make a concerted effort, even one of the things I noticed, even if it was 2nd and long, 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 10, they would still hand the ball off, try to get it more. They just trusted their run game, and they allowed guys to really get into a nice flow. Even when Rod Smith came in, they still ran their stretch stuff. They still ran their inside zone stuff. Was it as effective as when Zeke was in? No, but just showing that defense a similar look. I think Dak only threw 27 passes today, but he was able to be more effective with out of the 27, he complete 17 for over 250 and no turnovers. That is fine. That's fine. I will take that all day. So, I expect them to beat Houston next week. I expect them to beat Houston next week, and they should be 3-2 after that game. Now, I'll come back because there's some things we need to discuss in the Cowboys community, mainly Tony Romo Football Life that aired on NFL Network on Friday. I'll have a separate video for that either tonight or tomorrow night, and we'll go into Dallas-Houston prep. But guys, we got to celebrate each win. It's really hard in this league. This league it's crazy, as we saw again today with some of the results. Many of these games went into overtime. The coaching malpractice I just witnessed in this Houston-Indianapolis game where Frank Reich decides to go for it from his own 40-yard line with 24 seconds left in overtime in a tie game on 4th and 8. Basically hands the game to the Texans. There's a lot of craziness going on. So I know, as critical as I've been and as critical as many of us have been on this coaching staff and whatnot, I don't know if you guys can find comfort or what, but there's a lot of crazy coaching malpractice, players doing dumb stuff. You see Tampa Bay didn't even show up for their game today. A lot of craziness going on around the league. So it's still early. It's the end of the first month. So, as long as we're trending up, and right now, after, it's proving more to be a week-to-week lead, but right now we are trending up after this game. Let's go ahead and beat another football team that we should beat, and we are better than on paper next week. Try to string together some real momentum. But if I didn't earlier, thank you again, Brent Maher, for not causing a riot, because God knows what would have happened if he had missed that kick with the damn Bailey crowd. So kudos to him and asserting himself as a kicker for our team. He's really been on point since his first miss in the Carolina game. So I'll celebrate this win. I'll take it. It was a great weekend for my Horns. It was a great weekend for my boys. Very rare that I get 2 of them in the same week. So I'll take it, and we'll be back with more with the Tony Romo breakdown. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.